The Holocaust wouldn't have happened if Hitler had gotten some respect for his art. That's a true
Came
fact.
in, came in with a heavy opinion. I respect it. I'm gonna have to dispute that.
Yeah.
Uh, is that a famous thing that he was like shunned for his art, Hitler?
I don't even think shunned. I just think people didn't like give a fuck. Like he wanted to be an
They're
artist,
more indifferent. You're saying
indifferent.
that the indifference fueled
That's
his
it.
genocidal passions.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
I mean, it's a pretty extreme reaction, but I think that was the inception point for sure.
Here's a political leader that used his high IQ thinking for horrible means. He somehow, I wonder what the his rationale was for killing all those people. Whatever. Look, people don't come here for the World War II opinions, although we'll save that for another time. The picture behind me is the original Duke, Richard Van Patten, my great grandfather,
Mm.
when he was young.
Did you ever meet him?
No, he passed away a year before I was born.
That's dope. There's a picture. I had a
Yeah,
great grandmother that stuck around for a minute, but
good.
yeah. But dude, indifference is the killer for the artist. Trying to wrap it back. No, but for real, I think that's even worse than getting a negative response to something, because at least you're getting a response. It's the same as like sending out query letters and not hearing anything, as opposed to just getting like a flat out rejection. I feel like the lack of response stings more.
Yeah, it's one worse than the other. I
It's
think
indifference. Isn't the best when like you put out a piece of art, and if you get strong reactions on both sides, I feel like it's a success.
I was listening to the sports coach of Alabama football team, Nick Saban, speak today, and he said he doesn't like to get into the chatter about him, whether it's negative, whether it's positive. You know, people say he's the greatest of all time. He doesn't try
He
to harp on that.
doesn't buy into that.
He doesn't buy into the negative either. He plays his game. He figures out how to do their routine. He challenges himself. He knows their goals, and he knows what he's trying to do. So I think that's the only thing that you can do in show business too. Is like I
Yeah.
asked myself today, if you had any means, what would you be doing with like
Mm.
if you truly were like exploring your like artistic potential, what would you be making and stuff? And I didn't have an answer necessarily, but I want to continue to just keep coming back to that for sure.
Yeah, I like that. And as far as not getting caught up in the buzz, that's a really smart way of going about it, because if you get caught up, it's like a wave. Like everyone's career is just peaks and valleys. If you get too caught up in the hype, if that shit goes crashing down, you've gotten used
Oh
to
yeah,
this way of being, you've gotten used to getting in these rooms, getting these opportunities. So yeah, I think keeping that like, and also haters can be detractors too, because they can, I mean, most of the time they're coming from a place of jealousy and they want to be doing the thing that you're doing. And if they're not in the same arena, then why even listen to their feedback?
definitely. And it's not supposed to be easy. Someone one time was like telling me, "Oh, these people are talking badly about you. You want to know what they were saying?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to hear what they were saying. I don't really. I don't. Maybe I care a little bit, but like, I'm trying to not care. So
Yeah.
let's not like go into it. And he's like, "Oh, they're not your friends, right?" I'm like, I don't care. Like they're not their own friends.
Yeah. No one's like, not a single person isn't going to be liked by every fucking person. That's the way that it is. But also,
Totally.
I think it goes back, the reason why that shit can even be painful. Like nowadays, like in modern day, it really doesn't fucking matter. Back, like, I feel like it's hardwired into us because if we were like outed from a group or something, we didn't like fit into some kind of societal norm or whatever, we would be outed, and then we wouldn't be able to survive. So we're like
It's
hardwired,
wild.
like let me get approval, let me be liked. But at the end of the day, like nowadays, for sure, like it doesn't fucking matter.
Do you think you're pretty good with that? Bad with that? Could do better?
I've
What?
I've definitely gotten better through the years. I feel like now I'm at a pretty strong place with that stuff. Um, I think like high school for sure, I struggled with it, but that's also because I was, finding myself, and the stuff that I'm actually interested is actually dope. Like I don't need to fit in. It's not,
Yeah.
if it's not, what I found too is like the truer that you can stay to yourself and the more like on your path, and like you attract people into your world and you end up vibing with people who are on the same level. So it's like, why would you try to be someone that you're not and then be surrounded by all these people that aren't actually good for you or aren't actually on the same vibration? It's like if you actually live your truth and yourself, you're going to be surrounded by the people that you're supposed to be surrounded by.
That's a good point. What about with like your like material and stuff in your work? Are you like if people aren't a fan of it, are you pretty receptive of that? Like are you like, oh, I'll take it with a grain of salt or do my own thing or what?
I think grain of salt. I think it's also dependent on who I'm getting the feedback from. Like if it's someone that I really look up to and I really like aspire to do what they're doing, then that's definitely a harder blow. But that's just because I care. And so it might sting at first, but I've gotten pretty good at like lessening the time of like living in that valley of just like, fuck me, like I'm actually not any good. It's like, no, fuck that. It's like an objective thing. You got to critique. And now how can I improve for the next thing?
Totally.
How about you?
Yeah. I I mean, I've gotten a lot better with it with everything. And it nowadays it truly I'm just a lot better at having my own scoreboard. And a big priority to me is being like strong minded.
Yeah.
Part of that means knowing that, just the little tools like we talked about that like some people aren't going to like you no matter what you do. Some people are going to love you no matter what you do. So you might as well just keep doing what you think is best for you and for, your circumstances. And so like with acting and stuff, like I do something and try to make the best it could possibly be. If someone doesn't love it, take it with a grain of salt. And then I just don't hold it so close. I don't take things as personally anymore. I guess like I just have a confidence and a comfortability in the world that uh it's like, I'm not yeah, I'm not so sensitive.
I think that comes with age too, you know?
It they say it does, and it's a part of maturing, but I do like getting into like what causes you to learn that. One thing is experience. You start knowing what to look for. You start knowing, you live enough time to know that, oh, this person thought this of you. And it seems so important at the time.
So big.
But
Yeah.
actually it didn't end up mattering very well.
Give
And you
it
start
like
to
a
like
couple months
notice.
and you're like, the fuck was that?
Oh, totally. And so like I think looking for that and kind of keeping analyzing, evaluating life. People say don't overthink, but I think it's good to analyze mentally and like what's best for you, how to handle situations. It's survival. That's why we analyze things, is
Right.
like so that we can make the best of situations. So I totally back it.
I think it's also being proud of yourself. Like that's something that you can't fake. It's not like an arrogant thing or like a character you can kind of put on. Like, what you're doing behind the scenes. Like, you're fully aware of if you're actually
Mm-hmm.
squeezing out all your potential, if you're like
Yeah.
living a good life, if you're on your purpose, you're on your shit, if you're like a disciplined person, and if you have balance, all that kind of stuff. But like that better than anyone. And then I think when you're living that way, it then just you don't have to fake it. It's like this quiet confidence that just comes with that. I
Yeah.
also I also wish that it was easier to get objective feedback, because like, especially when it comes to scripts and like people reading scripts, like I'll have some people that I'll send scripts to, and because like they're my friends or like, they like know me and stuff, all that stuff is like added into the mix. Or like if I send it to someone else, they might have a different agenda and then it comes into play also. And like I feel like when it comes to getting real good true, but that's part of the issue with this stuff because it is art and it's like a subjective thing. And so actually measuring yourself, like if you're getting better, if you're improving, like I wish that even viewership could be a reflection on like if I put something online, like a short, if that could be an indicator on like the quality of the short, but that has nothing to do with it. Like there are so many other factors at play. So like I just wish that there was more of like a straight arrow way of measuring success and like if you're actually getting better with the quality of the work that you're putting
But
out.
don't you kind of have a compass of like if something's better or worse? And if you like my dad's a big self editor. Like he comes back to something and he just keeps, if he steps away from it, comes back, he's good at like, well, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go. And you kind of know, right?
I
Something's good or
like
bad.
that. I like
Yeah.
that in like trusting yourself the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm the person who knows this material. If I'm really honest with myself, is this as good as it could be? I like that.
And like keep forcing yourself to make it better. Good is the enemy of great. And then of course you can go to other people, bro, and just take everything with a grain of salt. It's not going to be objective. People are flawed.
Right. Right.
Take them off the hook.
Yeah, if you have a pretty good sniffer for like what's good feedback that's actually like constructive and helpful. And then sometimes people are giving personal preference notes. Like
Yeah.
like you can give someone a script and they might prefer like a funnier version of horror or like
Yeah.
a sweeter version or whatever, or they might not like a character because it reminds them of their mom, like all that
Yeah.
kind of shit. And so if you have a good sniffer, like you're able to.
You have to have a good sniffer. Someone just gave me a personal note on a value mentality thing. And he was nice enough to point out that it was just a personal preference, but I was like, I knew it was anyway. And I
Right.
wasn't
And you
gonna I'm
chose. It was a conscious decision for you to go the other way, right?
well, I just yeah, I knew it was a personal preference. I can smell it from a mile away these days. I ask for feedback so much that like I just know, or I like you said, like a sniff, like I can tell that that's that person's style. Is that the is that gonna be my specific audience member that I'm going for or my customer, right? So
Right.
yeah, you have to critically think about it. Um,
I want
but
to hear about, just to pivot a little bit, tell me about your experience with reps. Because I think for a lot of people, they uh they think of reps as this like, and this is kind of the spot that I'm at, especially because now I have this script that I'm like, this is the first thing that I've written. I've been over it like 100 times. I've been developing it for like 3 years. I have a piece of property now that like I'm currently looking for financing. Like I'm talking to producers, financiers, all that kind of shit. But at the same time, I'm starting to think about reps. And so part of this whole thing is like you hustle for so long and like you want approval, you want people to like your work, like you want to make this your full-time living, which involves people liking your shit, right? And so a lot of the time people look at reps and the potential of that and they're like, man, like once I get reps, like, I'll be chosen, like I'll be stamped, I'll get that stamp of approval, and then everything will be like smooth sailing. And I know that's not the case. I know that once you have reps, you got to kind of work your own list still and still hustle and all that kind of shit. But I want to hear from your perspective, your
okay,
whole journey through reps, like your first
yeah,
experience. Why? Because I know you jumped to this other one. The
yeah,
reasons for that, just overall, like what has that been like for you? And demystify
awesome.
for our audience, like what it's
I
like.
love it. What a platform. First off, though, um,
Sophia's had writing reps for a while, right?
She has, yeah. I think she was hip pocketed for a couple of years, and I think she's legit now with some people. I think at Verve.
Verve, yeah, they're like the biggest for writing, right? I think you're more than qualified to have a big writing rep. There's so many people that, because of the nature of the Hollywood business, like there's people that just have connections and they'll have CAA or some like the biggest reps that you can have,
Yeah.
and they get taken really seriously with that, and it goes amazing and great. Turns out you might not need much to be successful. Um, then sorry, there's some music playing in the background. But then on the other hand, my situation, I started with some shitty reps, and but even that felt like a big deal to get at the time. And then I went to a different rep that was like pretty good that a casting director connected me with. What? Who's blasting music? Sorry.
Just so you know, like I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything.
So
Someone's
I don't
playing
think it's coming through.
like Leonard Skinner, like campfire jams, like so obnoxious. Anyway, um,
New Rudy.
gosh. So first things first, you are so overqualified. First of all, when I tell people who you are, I go, yeah, he's made like 2 feature films already. Because I've worked with you on 2 feature films.
What was the second we did? We did Blood Brother with
Yeah,
Elite. What was the
yeah.
other one we did?
Thought we did another one, didn't we?
It might have just been shorts for us two working together.
You've done 1 feature film?
Yeah. I've attempted to do like a couple more. We'll see how those projects come together. But yeah, one for sure.
And you've grossed a ton on YouTube with doing short films, and you do it. Yeah, you should have your pitch down packed anyway, like your little one log line of your claim to fame. Like mine, for instance. Not that you don't have it, but like when I tell people what I do, I go, I'm doing the creative stuff. I'm a writer, actor. I do comedy, but I have 2 half-hour comedies in development we've been working on that I wrote, starred in one of them. And then I have a Lifetime movie that just came out, and then I had a Netflix comedy that came out a year ago, and I have my clothing company on the side.
Yeah.
That depending on the person I'm talking to, I'll change it up a little bit. But what that basically signals is that I got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm a journeyman actor that's working, but then also that I'm a freaking hustler writer that's getting stuff done, and I'm fingers on the pulse. So it's like for you, I know that you're doing that and you're constantly working, and you've been in writers groups for years with big people, and you have a real niche. So it's like, what are we trying to accomplish in the career? You're trying to make the best stuff possible. Agents and reps are just facilitators to get you
Right.
meetings for better things, and demystify that completely, because I've seen firsthand. That's the one positive about having a few different reps at this point.
Yeah.
Now I have a big manager
Yeah.
and a pretty big agent, and every one of them, for the most part, acts like they're big shots, even and more so even if they're horrible. And
For
they're
sure.
waiting for you to like treat them like they're a big shot. But I was so fortunate that especially my manager, but the agent, when I went into the meetings, it was like I didn't know them at all. It was a cold meeting, and I went in and I literally told myself same thing with an audition. Like, I'm going to have fun and just have a good meeting. I know my worth. I know I'm doing my thing. I'm not going to be like put off and like put them on a pedestal. Take them off the pedestal. But you should be doing that with everyone. All we're trying to accomplish at any stage in any of this is make good stuff.
Making shit. Yeah.
Making
Getting
shit.
out there.
And you're trying to like help them. You're trying to help them. You're going to make them money. So keep coming back to that, and then that'll help you like keep perspective. You really just need perspective, because we just put these gatekeepers on such a pedestal. But if you take that away, like, because it's fun to talk about, whether it's in an acting class or bullshit, you so deserve it. So you should be going 100%. I'm not just saying it. You should be taking meetings, going in super confident, just like having fun and just seeing what they can sell you on. They're supposed to be selling you.
100%. I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for the kind words. I also think like even if you're at a CAA or whatever, if you're not getting shit made, but you have the CAA, like who gives a fuck? And like there are a lot of people in
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah.
You could be
I know
at
someone that's at UTA right now and he doesn't get shit. He's talking to my mom the other day about in the gym about, hey, can you help me out? I need to like have a power with my agent. And I heard that and I was just like, sucks to suck, man. God bless. But like that is an annoying situation to be in, dude. You have to like beg your reps. Like I've been there, I've done that. And I'm sorry, gotta leave that shit.
Yeah, yeah. And even if it is like UTA, it doesn't matter. I've heard like you want to have your reps approach you because they'll be excited to work with you. I mean, you should also sell
But
yourself.
that doesn't happen out of thin air. You have to
That's
put
true.
yourself in the position to get
That's true.
a meeting.
That's true.
Honestly, I would just not even approach. Like you have to be able to get a meeting with these people.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
it.
I mean, if you get financing for something and it sells at a market, like these motherfuckers are gonna swoop in so fucking fast because they
Yeah.
want that commission. Like they want to be able to, like that's how they make their money. And so,
Yeah.
ultimately, if you are actually have the ability to get shit off the ground and get shit made, you're also like ahead
As
of.
a writer and director, yeah, if you get something, you make it, and it goes into Sundance, some shit, they will be coming to you. Yes.
One of my favorite stories is the guy who did Paranormal Activity because like everyone associates it with Blumhouse and like that's what gassed him up. But Paranormal, Oren Peli was the guy who wrote and directed that. And he had like a camera and he just did it in his house. He was like working some corporate job bullshit. He shot in like 12 days or something for like 15K. And he got a call. He started getting calls from everyone because it started catching fire. And he got this call from this guy from CAA. And he was like, how the fuck did you like do what you just did? Like, who are you? Who are you? Because they're not used to the situation of like there's all this political shit that goes into the mix. Like you're saying, like people can put you on, you can get connects, you can like, if you're in this industry, like your parents in this industry, whatever, it makes it all easier. But like if you actually can make a fucking thing, make it good, get it released, sell it, then like that's the best avenue because then it's like you have a product, you weren't born into this thing of waiting to try to make something, thinking about getting something off the ground. It's like you're now a proven writer director. You got something off the ground, and now let's go into the next project. Let's do the next thing. That's not.
Yeah, we all have the same goal. And if you hit that goal, they can't really keep you down.
Yeah, if you hit that goal on your own and you didn't need their assistance, then it's like you're that much hotter of a property for them to acquire.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew McConaughey did that Dazed and Confused movie.
Yeah.
The casting director got him into the movie and then said, hey, Matthew, you're great. You always got a place to stay in LA. If you come out there, you can stay at my place. He went there and he said, hey, my man, casting director, do you think you can set me up some meetings in LA to get an agent? He goes, you reek of desperation, man. You need to like go do something, travel around the world, and come back. He comes back and he goes, you're still not quite ready. But if you do go out, don't tell people you're an actor. Tell them you're a director. This town hates just like desperate actors. And while I kind of laugh about that whole thing, they don't want someone that puts on a pedestal. And you don't have to go the opposite way either, but it comes back to what we were just talking about, which is you can hit that goal by yourself. They want to know they're getting their money's worth. If they fucking set you up with meetings, they're gonna get something good out of it. I just got a commercial agent, which was not easy for me to get. I think
Congrats.
mainly,
That's
yeah. Well, like for some people, most people, especially if you come from modeling or something, you get a commercial agent first.
right. That's true. Yeah.
For me, for whatever reason, it was not easy to get a commercial agent. Like I don't know how hard I really pursued it specifically. I mean, you say the same thing for a modeling agent for me too, but for whatever reason, my manager now finally set me up with the commercial rep, and they took me on. But the meeting with them was like, they're like, Duke, I'll have you know, these days, like, it's tough for like anyone, but like, like a good looking white guy and stuff. People aren't jumping play on screen. There's too many of you. And so like you got to get scrappy. Are you like a scrappy guy? I'm like, I completely know what you mean. I've worked as an actor for a bit now, and some of these auditions and jobs that I've gotten, I get crafty about how to get the meeting. I get on my own. I look up the producers. I figure it out. I can take on the same thing even for commercials.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We need you to get scrappy.
Yeah.
And
you just sit on your ass and expect the jobs to roll in. That's the worst possible mentality.
no, and it's understandable. And that used to be how it was more so, but nowadays you can find out so much info about these people that it does pay off. Like you just need to spend time on your own trying to figure out how to get a leg up on the other people. And they want to get a sense of that. So it's like, how can you make it seem like you're going to do well for them without like pitching yourself obnoxiously?
Yeah.
Your resume already says that, dude. You have viewers, you have people that see your stuff. You've got a proven track record. So it's like,
it is true, but and I appreciate that, bro. But at the same time, if we're talking top tier reps, I can go further on my own. I can release a feature film that gets a shit ton of buzz and then be acquired because of that. That's just like a different league type thing. Like I know of a fair good amount of horror directors who were acquired off of a short film, and they're at these big reps, like they're at CAAs and shit, and they haven't done anything because making that jump from like they're trying to write scripts. It's like the same thing that I'm doing. They just have the name tag attached, but they're still trying to like generate good content and they can't really move within it. But if you're acquired as like a proven asset, they know that you can make money on your own off of like artistic endeavors. Like I think that's the ideal spot.
the more important thing as a writer isn't necessarily to have the agent checkbox, even though it is important to have an agent that's passionate about you and freaking gunning it for you. You have to have that. But what's more important is to make something that's in the studio system or that is accepted by the industry as a success, because that, like what we talked about with Trey Calloway, once you get that first one, then they know that you're trustworthy and they can start going to you for rewrites.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be an industry person at first, especially. That's more important to get in the system.
Mm-hmm. There is, and it's like it's the hardest fence to climb. But once
Sophia's in there, Sophia, I think, right, on some level.
I think, yeah,
she came up from being a PA, yeah, PA, writer's assistant. She got in the writer's room officially for one of those shows. She got a couple episodes of the thing, and then next thing you know, it's like those credits ended up looking pretty damn good, and the experience you gained was invaluable. And then you get the big agent and doing that podcast. She's throwing spaghetti at the wall and sticking little by little, right? So I think we're both doing the same stuff. But it's just not mystifying the stuff too much. It's keeping the plot, recognizing that
it's that grass is greener type thing. But once you're actually there, you're like it's pretty much the same scenario. You might have easier access to doors, but if you're not able to like start the train and start it pushing and like generating yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. I worked for this agency for like 5 months when I first came to LA before Blumhouse. And when I was there was this agent who was really nervous because he was about to meet this client that had proven himself. He was thinking about migrating to this agency. He was going to meet him. The agent had to sell himself. And I watched this guy. He was in his chair. He was like kind of stuttering a little bit. And I talked to his assistant. I'm what the fuck's going on? She was like, oh, he has like a big meeting with this person. And he was just kind of like, and then he took like his last like few deep breaths, like straightened his tie, and then he goes out there and he's all like charismatic and shit. Huge eye opener, bro. Because on the outside, they might look like all the time they're fucking selling all the shit. They're human beings. And if you've got this shit stacked, if you've got these proven credits, they do need to prove themselves, because who are agents? Who are reps? They're just people who like they came to Hollywood and like started as interns and mailroom shit, and then they worked their way up the corporate ladder. And then you're like a wild card. Like if you're able to make it to that level as an artist, not just like working your way up through a corporation, it's like they have to sell themselves to you.
No, that's a great little anecdote. I love that story.
I forgot that until like right now.
Okay.
It's been like 6 years ago or something. It's crazy.
Isn't that such good perspective? I think it's so important to see what the other side is like. And I do not put them on a pedestal anymore. Like, fortunately, I mean, it's been a couple years that I don't, but like, I just know that everyone's human and has their own battles. Like someone at CAA, I have a friend that was like an agent at ICM, and like he's like, going to be a producer instead. I know for a fact that like it's not the best gig and stuff, and I know they're not miracle workers too. In fact, I probably devalue them more than I should. Like I probably am undervaluing how big of a difference they could make if you have a like really big one. But for you, dude, and for stuff like it's not gonna be any different. Make your sick stuff that you're trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get to do rewrites. You'll get to, but
also those are rewrites. They aren't your projects. Like if you want to be making your own IP and your own original stories, it's a way harder battle.
You have to keep challenging yourself and striving for greatness, and that doesn't change.
Right.
Reps are just something that can help you make money, which is important, but it's not everything.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I mean, as if producers are different. I mean, yeah, we've been talking a lot about that lately, but like, dude, my dad for this now is 7 days of Vegas. He's already like got financing for 7 days of Vegas too.
Oh yeah, that's
you have one proof of concept that's really good that you're proud of, that you feel like is good. It's gonna come, dude. But the point is, like, all these things that we want are obtainable. You just have to stay true to the journey. Like, keep finding the good fight,
dude. The biggest talents, whether you're like an actor or director or whatever, like the name brand talents, when you get to that level, they have like a lawyer, and that's it. Like when you get, I mean, sometimes they choose to like keep the head of CAA or whatever, but they don't need them. Like there is a world where there could be an artist, whether you're like a producer, writer, actor, whatever, where like you don't even like, if you can get an audience that consistently shows up, I mean, it's a way harder, longer road. But like the agent and the reps.
No. I've heard a number of big time people, my Uncle Timmy included, who's like, the day of the big agent's kind of over.
It's not over.
He said it's over.
It's over. Yeah. 100%. That, dude, it's such like a 1980s concept. Like, like the whole like coke crazed shit. It's like Wolf of Wall Street mentality.
Yeah.
But if you really think about their purpose, like what are they doing? They're gatekeepers, right? But it's almost like if you're in the car and you need like gas filled, they're like the gas attendant, like putting that fuel in your car. Like they're not the gas.
No. You're right. They're not the product itself. They're just selling it. Exactly. I mean, it's remarkable how like when you're just starting out, there's this whole experience of everyone's just hyping up agents and managers and stuff, and you learn like it's really just not important. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're just business people that are doing the business so that the artist can just focus on the work, but also like they're literally just connecting you with the other creators. But if you can get those connections on your own by being immersed in the community, these days, social media, dude, are you kidding? Like you can just go straight to the people themselves.
Right. Right.
And that's happening more and more and more. You're already big on YouTube, all these things. Like you just, yeah, there's a system, but and agents like have a place in that, but I don't know. When
I
you when
think
you bring up like how it is, you need to be able to find a place without them.
I think it comes down to realizing that you've always had the power. Like
Yeah.
you have the power and it always started with you. I could, if I 100% put all of my focus and attention on the YouTube channel, I could gas those numbers up to like a crate. Like it's all something that I've started to realize, because I see some creators and artists and everything fall off. And then I also see them completely get gassed up, because it all has to do with like what you're doing. You're like the universe of energy that's like putting all this shit out there. Like it all starts with you and your intentions. If you wanted to make like a YouTube channel with your impressions, you could gas it up to like 1 million subscribers if you have the right attention and the right focus on it. And then everyone else ends up gathering around that. And the same is true for like your career in Hollywood, like any kind of ambition or whatever. It all starts with you and just having like the right mentality and figuring out what your goals are and like prioritizing right.
So I wanted to bring up back to the self-help stuff. I started doing last night something that Benjamin Franklin used to do,
Oh yeah.
which is he has this list, scale from 1 to 5. He checks it off, all his categories of what his personal life, and that might be his organization skills, his health, cooking, being a good friend, being a good romance person, uh, anything, career. It's like for me, acting, that mentality, all this stuff, and then so you do that weekly. You rate it on a scale from 1 to 5. How was I in acting this week? This week for me, I did better than I expected. I had 2 auditions, working on it, tried my damn hardest. I all this little stuff. Pickleball is a category, and then at the end, I do a summary and take stock and say, "This is how I did it. This is how I did it." Oh, wait, I did better in that category than I thought I did. I love the idea of doing that weekly. We should do that anyway. We do that. We do keep a log on our show business stuff in here, and the goal is to make improvement every week.
I love that idea of keeping stock of it and like the intentionality behind that. I think something that's crazy. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't have enough time for this," or whatever. Like your mind and how you think about shit can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Like people have a lot more control and power. And I have to remind myself of this shit too. Like everyone does, but you have a lot more power than you think you do.
I think so. I'm also open to like, I'm keeping stock of that stuff, but there are certain categories that like I just outright like have not made a priority lately, which is fine too. Like be easy on yourself about it. But I at least want to be conscious of how I'm spending my time, evaluating what's important to me.
Until next time, my friend. This is a
There
great
we go, brother. Yeah, man. Great
We'll see
stuff.
you
Have a
next
great
week.
one.
Thanks, bro.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See you, bud.